Welcome back to our book reading, and we'll be reading on mute. Awesome. Living in 10 seconds increments. With every relationship, you have 10 seconds to live. If you live your life in 10-second increments, then you won't be coming to conclusion or judgment because every 10 seconds will create something new. You need to live in that 10 seconds rather than trying to come to conclusion, which is based on the probability structures that you can balance things out. And if it's a good relationship, in the end, it will be better rather than worse. That does not deal with the structure of your relationship in the first place because it is not about creating possibilities. It is about creating a structure in which you have the conclusion that in the long run it will work out or in the end it will be the best. These are things that we keep coming to conclusion about, none of which gives us true choice. That is so interesting to be living in relationship in 10 seconds increment because then there's nothing to complain. And you remember of can you have more people on screen, please? I don't like talking to black screens. You remember the times, the relationships where you just knew that this welcome Rashi, welcome back. Thank you for joining back.
Hi, thank you. Hope all is good.
Huh? Yeah.
Hope all is okay with you.
Yeah. Like she called me crying, and I was like, "Oh, I'm here." So now she's better. Yeah, and she kind of is pretty lovable, and yeah, but things we have got the doctor and everything finalized, so I think now things will be better. I can do. Okay, cool. Where was I? I was talking about the relationships where you just knew that this relationship is very short-lived. You just knew maybe एक रात की बात है या 10 दिन की बात है, and then the person will leave and the person will not be there, and that creates so much passion and so much non-judgmental space in that relationship because you just want to savor every moment. Whatever you have, you just want to truly live through it with the other person. You want to really just be able to create that moment with them. So the 10-second increments relationship could be giving you the possibility to find and to create possibilities where you can live this moment, this presence with them in the best way possible that you would want to. And sometimes it can be fighting also. And that's okay. But you have to live it fully. Like even if you're fighting, you have to fight to the fullest. You roam, feeling that joy of fighting. Welcome, Amish. Welcome back. Ceylon participant. How do I clear my distress around men and women? It started as a teenager when my parents decided what my career life was going to be. All of this was done without my consent. This call has been rocking the foundation of who I really am. Now I don't think any of my choices are truly mine. Gary, you have to get that everything you have ever decided was true or real is a lie or an implant. So if everything is a lie or an implant, where do you begin? You begin with everything that is. You begin with what would I like today? In this 10 seconds, what would I choose? What would I like today? In this 10 seconds, what would I choose? This is the place you have to start to function from, to learn, to trust you. The reason you distrust men and the reason you distrust women is because you don't trust you. If you trusted you, you could know that they were not trustworthy or that they were trustworthy, and you would have a different possibility. Receiving what you desire in a relationship. You have talked about how 90% of women hate men and 90% of men hate women. Yet they all would like to own one. Do you sense the possibility that this could change with these calls? More people on screen, please. Yes. Let your bodies show up in the world. Thank you, Rashi. You're such a darling. उमेश ने दिल भेज दिया अपना मेरे दिल से काम चलाओ भी. Oh, Savi is here. Good to see you. या तू बंद कर ले तू. Sorry, Krishna, I had to interrupt you. You were sharing some juicy details and I had to cut the call, I believe, no? You can continue if you have something to share now. And thank you for your contributions, all of you. Awesome. There's a place you have to start to function from, to learn to trust you. The reason you distrust, okay, we were here. Gary, yes, that's the reason I'm doing this call. I would like to see this constant state of anger, rage, fury, and hate that people function from go away. So you learn to have a reference point for being what you desire in a relationship and receiving what you desire in a relationship. Is this learned or is it fundamental to beings and their preferences? Gary, everything about relationship is learned and it's all learned badly. You have been educated by stupid people about stupid relationships. So your relationship will be as stupid as theirs are, which validates the idea that their relationship aren't stupid. People teach you and train you to bad relationships like theirs. Because if you get a relationship as bad as theirs, it proves that there is as good as it's going to get. The probability is if your relationship is bad too, that their relationship is not as bad as the one they thought they were going to get. And that's, when Gary says that everything about relationship is learned, I've always been looking at it and observing it, how I have been always, also pointing it out in my world at least, how the relationships that the children are creating is so much based on the relationship that they have seen with their parents or maybe some other dominant relationship in their world, but a lot of times it is of their parents. So I have a friend who asked for a session with respect to, when it comes to trauma healing, generational trauma healing, when it comes to healing through his healing with his mother and all of that. And what we observed that how he has growing up, he saw his mother and father being separated and, a lot of ugly fights. And his mother is a very strong woman. And that, and how, that bitterness took over and she became extremely bitter and extremely, there was so much anger within her and hatred within her that she collected over the years. So when it came to his relationships, he started seeing the same pattern. That first, he's also attracting all kind of relationship that eventually break, because his nervous system and his body is not aligned and is not receiving of the idea of, there can be a relationship that can be easy and beautiful and contributive. So as soon as वो relationship, the intimacy gets deeper and deeper, at the very brink of it, he will snap out of it. Something will happen. The girl will reject, the family will reject, something will happen. and we have to snap out of it without any so-called reasons, and the cycle is like, just keep repeating again and again and again. Yes, comfortable distance, totally. um yeah, and it can be different also, sometimes I see men actually becoming their mothers and their fathers, and men also becoming their fathers and their mothers. And you और ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, हर लड़का अपनी बीवी में अपनी माँ ढूंढता है. So somewhere that's the pattern that his body and his nervous system has identified as a wife. This is how a wife looks like. No matter how, if it works or if it doesn't work or whatever is the situation, but this is how the wife is in the world. They don't know any other wife so closely apart from their own mothers. So they create the kind of wife that they have been saw their mothers being. And if there has been hatred towards it, or hatred towards your father, they end up creating more of it. So everything that brings up in your worlds, would you like to destroy and create all of that, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot, pop, color, in shorts, povads, boys and beyonds, everywhere. We have decided and concluded the image, the characteristic, the traits, the energetics of our life partners and the people and possibilities that we are including in our worlds, where we have decided that this is the kind of money that we can earn, this is the kind of clothes we can wear, this is the kind of bodies we can have, because this is what is only possible. So, what out of menu reality would you like to create for yourself? So, for me, and it gets very easy to understand when it comes to money, right? For me, I guess I kind of decided a number for me. This is the number that my body feels easy with, and I created that number until now. And then in last 6 months, or majorly 3 months, I um, I broke that ceiling again and again and again. Uh, and right now, the money that I'm making in a month is triple of what I was making 3 months before. And it is coming from spaces that did not, the possibilities that were not in my universe 3 months before. I did not identify myself. And 3 months before, they were not there because I could see them, but I could not put myself there and see, can I create it? Would that be really fun? And then this thinking analysis paralysis happens. And then in one moment, I chose it. I was like, okay, let me see what can I create with it? What is it there for me? And I guess my years of experience with business and with learning, with um, and actually unbusiness also, the way the business runs in this reality, the pushy energy of it, the salesy energy of it, the masculine, the hard energy of it, did not align to the flow that I required in my life. So now to unlearn that and create a business that's flowing, that's sensual, that's sexual, that receives like a goddess, well, it's quite a journey. But then the possibilities exist. It was me going out in the world and creating an evidence for me that I did not have. So your parents, your mother, your father, your business, your body is the evidence that you can see right now in the world. But the desire, the ask, the demand that you have is the evidence that you are going to go create out in the world. So instead of looking for evidences and proofs and patterns and conditions, what if you can go out and create your reality? Relationship reality, sexual reality, financial reality, business reality, body reality, in the way you desire. And that will that shifts and change when, number one, you include your body, because your body has no point of view. So it does not go and it doesn't work like that. कि अच्छा ये point of view है तो ये बन सकता है. It doesn't go like that. It go haywire. It can go in any fucking direction. And it doesn't think. Number one, that. I guess that worked like magic for me. And number two, truly being the energy of interesting point of view. Truly being that. Embodying that. With every breath that you take. And slowly and gradually, the third step will be that you will start enjoying that. Oh wow, that's an interesting point of view. Now what would I like to create? You know, the way we did in our orgasmic, the kind of course that I created, Orgasmic Awakening, I never saw an evidence of that in the world. You know, I didn't even know there will be people who will be interested in something like Orgasmic Awakening, Wild Women Rising, Receiving from Men, the kind of classes that I've been creating. I didn't see those classes before. But I created it because I was being it. And I wanted to create more evidences of it. You know what? This is possible. Let's create more of it. Yes, Krishna.
Yes, in your book read calls, you first time आपने बोला था कि शिवा एनर्जी. सो उस दैट वो टाइम पर इतना वो क्लिक हुआ था कि हाँ यार, ये मैं रिसीव नहीं कर रही हूँ मेरी लाइफ में. मैं खुद ऐसे वो बोलते ना कि पूरा खुद का सब करते करते मैं खुद ही एक मस्कुलिन एनर्जी बन गई हूँ. सो वो घर में हस्बैंड है, लेकिन वहां पे मैंने रिसीविंग स्टॉप करके रखी थी. कहीं पे भी वो कुछ भी करने जा रहा था तो मुझे लगेगा कि वो बाद में मुझे सुनाएगा कि हाँ मैंने तेरे लिए वो किया था, मैंने तेरे लिए वो किया था. वहां पे पूरा रिसीविंग स्टॉप किया था. सो जहां पे आपने तब बोला ना कि हाँ शिवा एनर्जी वो दोनों की है, जैसे लाइक पार्वती एंड शिवा दोनों की लाइफ में कुछ इम्पोर्टेंस है, तब मुझे ऐसा वो ऐसा हुआ था कि हाँ यार मैरिजेस होते हैं तो दोनों की लाइफ में क्या वैल्यू है. तब तक मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि हाँ उसकी कोई जरूरत नहीं है, वो मेरी लाइफ में है या नहीं है कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ रहा है, मैं ही कर रही हूँ, मैं भी कर लूंगी आगे जाके. लेकिन वहां पे एक्नॉलेज हुआ जब शिवा, आप ऐसे वो वर्ड बोले ना, ऐसे घंटी बजी थी मेरे दिमाग में. सो यस, बहुत बोलते ना वो कितना डिफरेंस फील हुआ था कि हाँ मैं कैसे वो रॉन्गनेस में जा रही थी और कहाँ जाके मेरा ये टर्न हुआ. एंड लाइक एवरीथिंग शिफ्ट. वो इतना मैं उनसे रिसीव कर रही हूँ अभी कि एस नो
Wow.
लिमिट. या थैंक यू
That's
सो
a
मच.
beautiful place, yaar. So Krishna attended the Receiving from Men class and now she's in Orgasmic Awakening. And before that, I didn't even know her. I think the first time I get to know you through and deeply know you through Receiving from Men call. I guess that's the fight in the world, no? Where we want to be the right, be everything. And it becomes so easy when you drop the fight and you receive and you know that, okay, I am great and you are great too. You know, I'm amazing and you are amazing too. And now let's see what is so yummy about you. And let me show you what's so yummy about me. And how can we co-create together this life that we got to have. So yesterday I was talking to my husband after the call because I was so happy the way everything is changing. And you know, like before call, 5 minutes before, 3 people are messaging me, I want to join it. I was like, I sent in the details and I went to the call, and I know that they will eventually join it. And I was like, the call is so easy and so contributive to fucking everybody in the world. I was so happy about how it all went. And I was like, you know what? Everybody used to ask me ever since I was in college, क्या तेको इतने अच्छे बंदे कैसे मिल जाते हैं? मतलब जब कॉलेज में भी सबके बंदे रुला रहे हैं, परेशान कर रहे हैं, ये हो रहा है वो हो रहा है, मेरा बंदा बैठा हुआ है, कब बात करेगी मुझसे? You know, he'll be waiting for my call. मैं खेल रही हूँ, कूद रही हूँ, वो अपना वेट कर रहा है. There was a like outpouring of love in my world. And then I created my husband 10 years back. And even now, like my sister, even my own parents, they still cannot believe how a girl like me can grab a guy like him, because मैं बहुत शैतान हूँ, मैं बहुत you know इधर उधर तितर बितर हूँ, और वो बहुत ही ऐसे बुद्धा एनर्जी है, शिवा एनर्जी है, बहुत ही शांत, बहुत ही इसमें लगेगा एक सुधरा बच्चा है, एक बिगड़ा बच्चा है. तो I told him, what everybody used to ask me, and I think now I'm really literally telling the world that how do you receive the Shiva energy in the world, and how would you invite Shiva to see the Shakti in you, and Shiva will see the Shakti in you when you will see the Shiva in him. And what else is possible from now on? What do you know about it? And wonder who it was contributing to. How does it get better? What would I like today? In this 10 seconds, what would I choose? This is the place you have to start to function from, to trust you. The reason you distrust men and the reason you distrust women is because you don't trust you. If you trusted you, you could know that they were not trustworthy or they were trustworthy, and you would have a different possibility. And that's so true. Like I've had clients where I've seen them, कि इतना दुख हो रहा है कि मेरे पति had an affair or is doing this or that. And yet it feels like a surprise, but it was never a surprise. They always knew it, but they didn't trust it. Everything that brings up in your worlds, right and wrong, and bad, pot, pakal, in shorts, poets, poison, beyonds. I'm not in a relationship. It seems like it's more trouble than it's worth, because I'm very happy on my own. I'm not excluding relationship, but I'm not also including it, Gary. What you are describing is the moment at which you are actually willing to receive a relationship that would work for you. That's so true. If you are asking for a relationship to fill something in your life because you're lacking something, then the relationship will not be able to fill it. But you're already happy and joyful and juicy and yummy in your life, then fucking everybody will come running towards you. So that's the best space to be in a relationship. At this point, if a relationship walked in that worked for you, would you know it? That's the question to ask. When you're independent, when you have enough money and things are going well, you're out of the needy universe and into the place of what else is possible. You are in the questioning universe that can create a relationship that might work for you, that might be fun for you, that might expand your agenda, your reality, and your possibilities. You're not going to get into it from lust. You are going to drift into it by accident. You're going to find somebody who enjoys hanging out with you and appreciates who you are. Unfortunately, if you are like most women, you will say, he's just a friend. No, he's a possibility, not a friend. Most women, as soon as they find a guy who likes to talk to them and hang out with them, say, if he wants to hang out with me, he's a friggin' loser. What? Do you like to hang out with you? That would be the question. If you like hanging out with you, you have the place where you can choose different. Salon participant. I'm baffled by the limiting choices I make, which take away from my potency. Gary, once again, this is probability structures. You take away from what is really potent about you and your choices, and you create limiting choices as a way of functioning within the probability structures to make sure you don't lose. What stupidity are you using to create the probability structures of relationship to avoid, rather than the possibility systems that would you got
You're on
muted.
mute.
Oh, sorry. I'll just close my camera for a while. What stupidity are you using to create the possibility structures of relationships to avoid losing rather than the possibility systems that would allow you to be choosing everything that is times a good children will destroy and create it all right and wrong, good and bad, what for online shorts, for bad squares and cons. What stupidity are you using to create the probability structures of relationship to avoid losing rather than the possibility systems that would allow you to be choosing everything that is answer children will lose to and create it all right and wrong, good and bad, what for online shorts, for bad boys and beyonds. I was in a park. I was in a park some days ago and a guy was looking at me. I sensed that he was going to try to approach me, and my body and my being felt he was creepy. I started to poke and prod that he would approach. कृष्णा को बहुत हंसी आ रही है. And he did not. What pragmatic tool can we use to let down a guy that is too insistent? Gary, poking and prodding was the perfect thing. You were aware and you knew exactly what was needed. I was talking with a lady who wanted to get married. I asked her, what kind of men are you finding? She said, all I find are creeps who go to bars. I asked, what are you going to a bar if you want to get married? Well, how am I going to find a man if I don't go to bars? I said, go for afternoon tea at the fanciest hotel in your area and sit with a book, wear a nice dress, one that shows a little cleavage, and a great pair of high heels. Cross your legs, and as you're sitting there, let your foot bob up and down a little bit. That will intrigue the guy. When it comes over and asks you what you're reading, say, oh, I'm just reading this interesting book. Have a book with you that you like, something that interests you, but not a romance novel. If you have a romance novel, you're going to turn the guy off because he's going to think that you're looking for a relationship. Do not read 50 Shades of Grey and think you're going to get a man out of it. Joy of Business might get you a really rich man. He will say, you're reading about business? And you'll reply, yes, I just love business. I find business people so sexy. Don't be afraid to use the word sexy if you're interested. If you're not interested in him, be polite, talk to him. And when he asks, would you like to go out for a drink sometime? Say, oh, thank you so much, dear, but I don't date. I go directly to marriage and I require a $500,000 surety bond upfront. Before you know it, his car will be screeching down the roadway. One lady told me, we need to teach CPR if you are going to tell people to do that. She said it is to some guy who almost passed out. So the guy might have a heart attack. But if he is old enough to have a heart attack, he is old enough to take you home. And never mind, that's what you do. I guess the next book that we're going to be reading is Joy of Business. Anyways. Interestingly, I was planning to read Joy of Business next. Because the energy of business is quite interesting in our world right now. There's nothing to fight. Salon participant. I have so much more peace and ease in my life since I've become more aware of the fight with men and keep choosing to let it go. My barriers are down. I'm much kinder, but I'm still a little confused. Would you please help me? Some time ago, I mentioned to you that there were a few men at work who were being bullies. I felt like I was in amazing mode and had weapons on my body. I was turning them to dust. I think you said something like, why would you make yourself wrong for that? That's exactly what you needed to create at that moment. Why did you stop? Isn't that sexy? Can you explain that further in light of what we are talking about? Is it kinder for us to not be warriors? Gary, that's an assumption that it's kinder to not be a warrior. Sometimes being a warrior is exactly what is needed in the moment. Totally. Sometimes looking, sometimes fighting and worrying and, just getting the hell out of that relationship is exactly what you needed. Putting your voice out in the world, because everything that you're creating in this lifetime, everything that your body is asking for is for you. And if it doesn't expand your world, then what's the point of having it? What stupidity are you using to create, never being, doing, having, creating, generating, and instituting anything and everything as needed are you choosing? Everything that is times of zillion will destroy and create it all, right and wrong, good and bad, pot, pock, all in shorts, covads, boys, and beyonds. What stupidity are you using to create, never being, doing, having, creating, generating, and instituting anything and everything as needed are you choosing? Everything that brings up right and wrong, good and bad, pot, pock, all in shorts, covads, boys, and beyonds. What stability are you using to create, never being, doing, having, creating, generating, and instituting are you choosing? Everything that brings up right and wrong, good and bad, pot, pock, line, shorts, provides, boys, and beyonds. What stability are you using to create, never being, doing, having, creating, generating, and instituting anything and everything as needed are you choosing? Everything that brings up right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, line, shorts, provides, boys, and beyonds. What stability are you using to create, never being, doing, having, creating, generating, and instituting anything and everything as needed are you choosing? Everything that is times concealing will destroy and create it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot, pock, calling shots, povans, boys, and beyonds. Salon participant. You also mentioned that when I do not fight, it is the same as fighting because I am assuming superiority. Carrie, I don't think that's what I said. I think I asked you a question. Do you feel superior when you do that? Is that how you make yourself superior enough not to be less than? Wow, how many women are fighting men to prove that you're superior? If you're trying to prove you're not less than, you will do superiority rather than choice. Choice means you can pull out your sword and cut off their heads if you want to, or not, as you wish, as kindly as you choose to do it. Sometimes a quick slash off to the throat is a very good kind thing to do. Some people deserve it. When I do interesting point of view, there is nothing to fight, Gary. That's the point. There is nothing to fight. So if you're not fighting, what other choices do you have? Participant. You have said, you have also said I'm not willing to kill, that I'm sexy when I'm evil, and that I keep doing pathetic, and that you hate it when I do pathetic. Gary, when you are doing the superior person, when you are doing the person who is not going to take it anymore, when you are doing, don't mess with me, that's sexier. Then boo-hoo, pitiful me, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I would better go eat worms. That is not much of a turn on. When you do pathetic, it's the one time you are never being you. Functioning from total choice. Salon participant. What does kind or evil look like? Gary, you are kind or evil according to the moment, according to the need, according to the desire, according to the requirement of the people you are with. You are however you choose to be because you are functioning from total choice. What stupidity are you using to create, never being, doing, having, creating, generating, instituting anything and everything at will are you choosing? Everything that this times a gazillion will destroy and create it all, right and wrong, good and bad, bot, online shorts, povads, boys, and beyonds. Salon participant. Is this where we find the tiniest scrap of kindness in a man and bring that out? Gary, not really. Start looking at both the evil and the good in people and recognize that you're going to get whatever you get when you get it. And not try to only bring out the good or the kindness. You have to be willing to have the person you are with. Otherwise, don't bother. Does your relationship create more comfort? Salon participant. I asked. Truth. Would I like a relationship in my life? It was a yes. Then when I asked, truth, would a relationship expand my agenda? I got a no. Gary, relationships are not necessarily about expanding agendas. In this reality, everybody tells you a relationship is going to expand your agenda. Unfortunately, most people do relationship from a very contracted place and actually confines them and limits everything they are choosing. Salon participant. We have talked about how a relationship can be great if it creates more comfort. Can you talk about what that looks like? Most people get into a relationship with the idea that they are going to get something out of it. They think it is going to provide something they desire or do something for their life, or they're going to be in love forever, or they're going to live happily ever after. If you go into a relationship because it is comfortable, a whole different universe can open up. Years ago, when I lived with roommates, people would come to interview to be a roommate. I would tell them what the rent was, and I would say, "Tell me about you." They would say, "I'm really clean and tidy. I'm glad to share my food with people, and I take care of things." I noticed that people who said those things were not clean and tidy, did not take care of things, ate all my food, and got pissed if I ate theirs. What happened was when they got to my house to be interviewed, they would look around to see who they had to be, what they had to be. They saw my house was clean and neat. So they said, "I'm very clean and tidy." This is what happens in relationships. People look around to see what they have to be to make it okay for you to have them in your life. All the adjustment that you have been doing to adjust in a life rather than creating a new life. I just try and get all of that. And to adjust in this reality, everywhere you have been adjusting, cutting, shorting, moving, just to fit in this reality. Would you like to destroy and create all of that, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot, insurance, bad, boys and beyonds, and what if? The reality could expand for you. Expanding, 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 expanding. What out of reality choices would you like to bring in your reality right now, right there? Everything that you have not imagined or considered yet, that your body would like to receive. Would you make a choice? Would you make a demand? Now, everything that doesn't allow you to know, be, perceive, and receive this, would you like to just try and get all of that, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot, shorts, that's possible. What you should do if you really want to find out what you are going to have in a relationship is to go to the person's house and see how they live. If you can walk in there and live with everything they have got and be comfortable with it, you have a really good chance of creating a relationship. If you hate the way they decorate, if you hate the way they keep their house, if you hate the way they have food, if you hate the way they keep their cupboards, if you hate any of that, then you are not going to be comfortable in the relationship. Most of us don't do any research to find out what is going to work for us. Have you ever lived with somebody and noticed the things that begin to irritate you were things he did all the time that you thought you would be just fine with because you loved him so much? Ever noticed that? These were things you didn't consider that bad when you got together, but at the same time, they were not the things you would have felt comfortable actually living with. That's why you need to start asking, if I'm doing a relationship, who would be comfortable for me to live with? Salon participant, how does allowance play into this? Carrie, when you are living with somebody, you want comfort more than you want allowance. If you have comfort, you will always have allowance. If you're uncomfortable, you'll never have allowance. You can't use allowance as a way to overcome what you don't like. That's not what allowance is. Allowance is interesting point of view. If you get the way the person lives is something you can live with, then it's never going to be an issue. So allowance is actually allowing them to be who they are, not judging them for it. But you also would like to have it in your own life is a choice that you will make. And then also finding what is it that matters to you here. It's 10:30 already. I'll finish this paragraph and we'll close. Dane and I share a house. We don't live together because we are not a couple, although lots of people think we are. At our Christmas party, a neighbor asked, "Are you guys married?" I said, "No, we are just two straight guys who share a house and a business and do most things together." Dane has his room and he decorates it any way he chooses. I seem to decorate the rest of the house. Not for any reason other than that's easier for him. He's comfortable with the things I choose to keep in the house. Occasionally, he will say, "That's kind of ugly." And I will say, "Okay," and I get rid of it. Why? Because he's comfortable to live with. He has 8 million machines that do all kinds of things. We have a margarita machine, an espresso machine, and a Vitamix mixer. All I have to do is figure out what cupboard I can get them into. He's comfortable to live with because he likes things to be clean and organized, at least on the outside. If it looks like trash inside the drawer or in the closet, that's okay with him. That's okay with me too. As long as the visual effect is good, what's in the closet doesn't bother me because I don't think about it. When I first met Dean, he had his own apartment. I went to his house and I was comfortable there. What is being comfortable about something? It's the energy people create in their life, which is spelled out in their furniture and things. They use the things around them to create a sense of peace in their life. If you have comfort with the person you are with, you're more likely to have a great relationship. When does allowance come into play? You want to see the kindness and caring in the person. You want to know what they're interested in and what they're not interested in. Allowance comes into play when you see that they like some things you don't. For instance, Date got into archery and we set up our garage as a shooting gallery. We put critters around the yard for him to shoot at. It was very funny to me because he was enjoying the hell out of himself. I had no interest in archery. But I was glad he was enjoying himself. That's where the allowance for difference comes in. You enjoy the things the other person likes to do, actually, wow, that are not necessarily what you like to do, and you are glad for them. You have the generosity of spirit to be happy that they have something that is of such value and interest to them. Wow, I can get that. Today I realized true kindness is total allowance. Gary, yes, true kindness is total allowance. But it's even more than that. True kindness is also the willingness to be more, to have more. It's the recognition that you have to be kind to yourself, not to others. If you get up in the morning, look in the mirror and judge yourself or your body, are you being kind? No. But most people do that. They say things like, "I'm getting so old, I'm so saggy, so draggy." What does that have to do with creating? You have to ask, what would it take to change this? I've discovered there are times when I look like I'm 40 and 10 minutes later, I look like 70. How the hell does that happen? Does this mean that we have something to do with the creation of how our bodies look? Yes, we do. Everything that brings up and lets down in your world, to like to receive that, embrace that, allow that, and ask universe what total kindness would look like. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Does anybody want to share anything? Anything showing up? Yay, Umesh is here. Awesome. सारी ऐसा लग रहा है बहुत गहरे चिंतन में अब कुछ बोलेगी नहीं. Roxana says thank you. Okay, I'll see you guys again then. Have a lovely.
Thank you. Yeah. Just saying thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But there is a certain thing. Any of Gary's books, they are like so, every time you read them or every time you listen to them, it's like some bulb goes on, or
Totally, totally,
it's to the point and very honest and very, not in a roundabout way, very to the point.
totally, totally. I very much agree to that. And it's so he talks about same things, like kindness, allowance, interesting. And yet, when you put into different topics and you talk about it, there's so much more always that hits you every time. Um, thank you. Thank you for sharing this experience with
And
me.
everything is connected. Your calls मैंने जो past में किए, present में कर रही हूँ, और अभी ये book read, सब कनेक्टेड है. सो लाइक ऐसा वो सब बल्ब जो बोल रहे हैं वो दीदी कि ओपन अप हो रहे हैं, बल्ब जल रहे हैं, ऐसा हो रहा है कि हाँ ये कल ही बात की थी, अभी ये बुक में आ रही है.
Exactly. We were talking about it yesterday. And also that space gives us a chance to embody things and, live through it. And then next day when we'll read the same thing, I
Yes.
guess it just expands the possibilities even more
It's
and
true.
more. And with
जो आप टॉपिक समझा रहे हो कॉल में, ऐसा नहीं है वो एक ही टॉपिक है. रिलेशनशिप में, खुद की रिलेशनशिप, जिसकी बिजनेस, हस्बैंड, किड्स, वॉट सभी रिलेशनशिप पे वो वर्क कर रहा है. और लाइक आज मैंने वो भी फील किया. मैं ड्राइव करते करते बहुत टाइम, अभी मेरा चल रहा था कि मुझे डेथ का फियर होता था, बहुत सारे एक्सीडेंट्स हुए हैं. तो आज मैंने लाइक वो अपनी वो टाइग्रेस वाला वो फीलिंग आई थी. मतलब हाँ ये अच्छा है, फियर की जगह ये अच्छा है. या तो ऐसे वो सेटिस्फेक्शन वाला होना चाहिए, या तो होना चाहिए. सो
that's so
बहुत अच्छा लगा था कि लाइक यस, सब कनेक्टेड है. एवरी सिचुएशंस, एवरीथिंग. कुछ भी कॉल्स कर रहे हो ना, तो वो एक चीज के लिए नहीं है, काफी सारी चीजें शिफ्ट एंड चेंज हो रही है. या
Thank you. You're so potent. You're so amazing, Krishna. I am so
आज न्यू क्लाइंट भी शोज अप हुए, और वो क्लाइंट खाली पार्लर के लिए नहीं, वो हेयर ट्रीटमेंट्स भी कराएंगे, फेशियल्स भी, और कहीं ना कहीं वो हील होने के लिए भी चूज कर रहे हैं, तो वो सेशंस भी बुक करा के गए. सो वाओ, एक साथ तीन तीन चीजें. सो ये सारी चीजें भी आज शिफ्ट एंड चेंज हुई. सो यस, एक नहीं डोर ओपन होता है, काफी सारे ओपन होते हैं.
that's
एक्नॉलेज. या
really that when you start, receiving the goddess within you, and the wilderness is showing up, the tigress is out there, your receiving is exponentializing from here every day, every moment.
True.
And you're embracing it, you're having it, and everybody else in the group. So I'm so excited for everyone. I'm so excited to see, okay, what's next? What next? Like every morning when I go get your message or other participants' message or anybody's, I was like, okay, what next? What next?
Yes.
You guys are such, and I'm looking forward to see more wilderness out within me and out there in the world. So let the wild woman rise. And all my other goddesses and wildernesses here, let the wild women touch your spaces. Ask, okay, what would the wilderness look like in my world? Let the tigress and lioness get up, get awake, and choose.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Good night. Love you all. Have fun.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.